Alright, hello everyone. Today is February 18th, and I just saw Madam Web in theaters. I'm not lying. Hopefully that picks up on the camera. It wasn't very good. I don't even really know why I saw it. I think I was just looking for something to do, and for some reason I did not pick a movie that I thought would be good. I guess I wanted to see it because I like Spider-Man, and this is Spider-Man adjacent. The movie has an uncomfortable relationship with Spider-Man. There are Spider-Men, and there is a man with spider-like abilities, but they never use the word Spider-Man. Alright. I also am not feeling the best. I was munching on cough drops in the movie theaters. I also snuck in a whole thing of cashews. I really love seeing movies in the winter because you get to wear these big jackets. And this is just a smuggler's dream of a jacket. So many pockets in this thing. Whole thing of cashews, delicious. So instead of, well, not instead of, first, we're gonna talk about previews. And then me from the future, you're gonna have to figure out how to do that thing on a YouTube video where you like slice it up with like little labels. Maybe I'm not allowed to do that because I only have X number of subscribers. I don't know, but now you'll have to look into it at least. So, there's Imaginary, which is a movie about a creepy bear who's an imaginary friend. Blumhouse is making it, so if you like horror movies, that might be up your alley. Twisters is about tornadoes. That's coming out eventually. A Quiet Place Day 1. They're making another Quiet Place movie. I think this is the third one, but this one is a prequel, presumably. Then there is The Watchers, a new M. Night Shyamalan movie about a human zoo, it seems like, or like, I think there were like 4 ladies and like a little glass menagerie, or like a pen, and they didn't seem too happy to be there. Kind of like, oh, I'm a fake fan. What is, not Fahrenheit 451. I was trying to think of this in, did I write it down? No, I didn't. Ah, God, what was that book I was supposed to read in high school? Ah, damn. Oh, they blow up, it's World War II. Oh, and the guy did doodles. Oh, he drew doodles in his books, and I liked reading his books, but I don't remember it. He's like, John Green loves him. Oh man, he like drew a book, and he drew a butthole. I think it was, the book was called Cat's Cradle. And I remember reading it, I was like, this is pretty fun to read. Oh man. Ah, that's gonna annoy me. I mean, me from the future can just show the thing I'm talking about now. Anyways, a movie called The Watchers by M. Night Shyamalan, which you spell Shy, A-M-A-L-A-N, which I did not know, and it's about a human zoo. That's coming out eventually. There's a movie called Taro that has, I want to say his name is Ned from the Disney Spider-Man movies. He's going to be in that, or at least it looked like him. Ned, or the CEO of Sex, or the guy in the chair. I think that was him. I didn't Google this, but it looked like him in the couple little bit I saw it. And that's going to be a lot of horror movies coming out. These all seem like spooky, scary movies. And then Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I swear, they've been marketing this thing for like, it feels like 2 years. I've been watching ads for this Ghostbuster movies. Okay, so I am now going to attempt to recite the plot of Madam Web from memory. So the year is 1973, and we are in Peru, which is a strange place for a Spider-Man movie to start, but it's not a Spider-Man movie. Anyways, there's this lady who's interested in spiders, which checks out, but it's like, it's not a Spider-Man movie, but it is a movie about men with spider-like abilities. It's very strange, and it's clearly influenced by Spider-Man. I'll try to, I don't know. It was a weird movie to watch. Anyways, 1973 Peru, we have a lady who is interested in spiders and finding this one spider, and then she has this one bodyguard guy who's like, hey, did you hear about the Spider-Men? Las Arañas? Which probably means something in Peruvian. Maybe Spider-Men. And the lady is like, no, I don't. I believe in science. And then, ... he gives her an umbrella, and she says thank you, and then he... I guess a little bit of time passes, and then the guy is back at camp, and he's like poking through her books so we can tell he's a bad guy. And then the lady comes back and goes, hey, look at me, I found the spider I was looking for. And then he goes, all right, well, I'm a bad guy in this movie, so I'm gonna shoot some guys, and then I'm gonna shoot you, lady with the spider. Also, lady with the spider is pregnant, so he shoots a pregnant woman and takes her spider vial and leaves. And then the Spider-Men, Las Arañas, which we referenced like 2 scenes ago, this movie loves just like slamming exposition into you really quickly, like that, like when they said, oh, like those Spider-Men? I don't believe in those, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, the Spider-Men are gonna show up soon. The Spider-Men show up, and they're like, come with us, pregnant, dying woman, and they take her to their home, presumably. The effect is really bad. They're like jumping around in the trees, but it's sped up, so it seems like the movie was kind of ashamed of the effect, but it just ends up looking even weirder. And then they dip this dying pregnant lady in a pool. Oh man, this movie makes no sense when you say it out loud. They dip this dying pregnant lady in a pool, and then the baby comes, and then they put a spider on her, so the spider bites this dying pregnant lady, and she goes, because she's been bit by a spider. And then she delivers the baby. Well, the baby just kind of shows up from off screen. And then the guy who was talking to the dying pregnant lady was like, I'll be here, just in case. And then the year is 2003, so we find out that that child is Dakota Johnson's Cassie Webb. They never call her Madam Webb. That's a little bit of a spoiler. I probably shouldn't have picked this street because I'm so close to a hospital. Hope that ambulance isn't too annoying. You'll probably see it there in a second. Ba-ba-da-ba-bum. So, Cassie Webb is a ambulance driver. Oh, that's serendipitous. Cassie Webb is an ambulance driver, and she works with Adam Scott, aka Ben from Parks and Rec, aka the guy in Step Brothers that's married to Catherine Hahn, I think. He hasn't really been in a lot of things. And they work together, and they have a fun little relationship, like friendship. I don't think they're dating at all. Oh man, and they're ambulance drivers. And then there's a whole lot of nothing that happens. When Dakota Johnson, Cassie Webb, is driving her ambulance, she almost hits this girl, and the girl flicks her off. And then later, they go to save this person, and there's another girl there who will be important to the story later. And there's a really weird scene about Ben. Oh yeah, he's just called Ben in this. I think kind of like Uncle Ben. I don't know, and it seems like the movie doesn't know either. Adam Scott is Ben, and he's like, I met someone, and it's serious. And that scene doesn't go anywhere, and I don't know why that was in the movie. And then there's a whole lot of nothing that happens. Eventually, Cassie Webb and Ben Parker, presumably, I don't know if that's his last name though, but one would think, go out to do an ambulance thing, and Dakota Johnson goes to save this guy who's trapped in an upside down car, and they save the guy, but Cassie Webb in the car falls into a river and almost drowns. And there's the scene of her, like, seeing her life force and the web of choices, maybe, while she's underwater, and her brain's, like, cooking. And then after a little bit of that, Ben pulls her out and is like, oh, I saved you. Yay. And then we realize that Cassie has some timey-wimey powers because Ben is taking her, like, blood oxygen level, and we do a scene, and then we do the scene again, kind of like Groundhog Day, but instead of, like, getting a whole day, we get, like, 20 seconds, maybe. I hope that ambulance isn't in the shop. That's going to be really disruptive. It's over there, and I can see it both in my peripheral vision and reflected off that surface over there that you can't see. But, yeah. So, timey-wimey things are happening. They go on another... Oh, no, they go to a baby shower. And at this baby shower, it's Ben's sister. And at this baby shower, more timey-wimey things happen. And then, eventually there's a fire at a dock somewhere. And Ben and Cassie go to this thing to go rescue people. And then more timey-wimey things happen to Cassie, and she, like, predicts the fact that someone will die, but he doesn't listen to her, so that guy dies. And then she goes home for the rest of the day, and then we cut back to that villain from 1973, the one who shot Cassie's mom, and he's with some woman at an opera house, and then they're having a fun and sexy night, and then they're in bed together, sleeping, maybe sex. Sex isn't really implied. They're sleeping, and then this bad guy, who at some point the movie calls Ezekiel, and Dakota Johnson knows his name is Ezekiel. Cassie Webb knows his name is Ezekiel, but I'm pretty sure that the movie never said that. So, I'm just gonna call him Man Spider, because he is a man with spider-like abilities and a mostly Spider-Man suit, but don't question why he chose that costume choice, or else you'll be like, is that Spider-Man? Is this evil Spider-Man? I don't think it is, but he has a nightmare where these 3 women kill him. And he wakes up to tell this person that he is sleeping with that he has a recurring nightmare where these 3 women kill him. And she's like, oh, that's crazy, go back to bed. And then something, she pulls a gun on him, I think, but since this is the guy that stole the spider, and he stole the spider, so now he has spider abilities. He is a man with spider abilities, and this man with spider abilities kills this woman with like a touch that just kind of does venom. Cassie later calls it a neurotoxin, but that'll come up later. He kills her, and then we find out this woman is working for the NSA. And I think that scene stops there. Yeah. So, Cassie's watching a black and white rendition of A Christmas Carol, and it's like, I'm gonna tell you now, Scrooge, you can't change your past or future, blah. And then she does by, she's going to get popcorn, and then she hears a glass break, and then she looks over, and there's a dead pigeon that hit her window, and then a timey-wimey things happen where the whole movie rewinds like 20 seconds, and she goes, okay, Dakota, the movie goes, okay, Cassie, you can open the door for that pigeon now. And then she opens the window for the pigeon, and instead of hitting the glass and dying, the pigeon flies into the apartment, and then goes, and then the pigeon flies out of the apartment. And then Cassie goes, oh wow, timey-wimey powers, they are real. And also, Adam Scott, Ben calls her and says, hey, you know that guy who died a couple scenes ago? They're holding his funeral in Poughkeepsie, so you should show up to that. And then Cassie goes, yeah, I should, but also I'm not going to pick up the phone and tell you this, but I'm going to realize that I need to go on my own, so the fact that I didn't pick up the phone doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I'm going to be really upset. I'm recording audio, right? Yes, wonderful, thank you. Yes? Alright, wonderful. I'm gonna hope that the recording actually works this time and goes for a whole, Madam Web themed review or rant. I don't really know. This isn't a rant. I'm not upset. It's not a good movie, but it wasn't, like, upsetting. It was kind of lazy and bad. Anyways, we're getting there. So, Cassie goes to a train station. Okay, there must have been a scene before this where that evil guy Ezekiel has a henchwoman, a goon, a myrmidon, and this goon goes, well, with the NSA powers I have, because you killed that NSA person, now I can monitor all the security camera footage in the world, America, doesn't matter. Anyways, you know those 3 girls you're looking for that you described to me, that you saw in that dream you had? Well, since that dream happens in the future, and it is not the future now, you know those women that you saw in your dreams that were wearing masks? Well, this is what they would look like 10 years in the past. And then they find these girls 10 years in the past, and they're all at this train station. And Cassie is also at this train station. And then Cassie gets on a train, and then Cassie realizes that all 3 of these girls, who in the future will kill Ezekiel, are also on this train. And then Cassie, a lot of timey-wimey stuff happens, and then Cassie realizes that Ezekiel is coming to kill these 3 girls. So they try to escape, and Ezekiel transforms into a man spider off screen in like this black and red suit. It's like all black, and it has the sort of Spider-Man eyes that are like pointy at the ends. But there's like it's not like a webbing all around. There's just kind of red lines haphazardly glued onto the suit. So there's a little action where man spider is attacking cops as Cassie and her 3 captives attempt to leave. And then they get away. Cassie steals a cab and puts the 3 kids in there, and then we find out the 3 kids' names, but I mean, they're really not characters. No one in this movie is really a character. We're so focused on telling this timey-wimey spider, space, man, woman story that we don't really have time. We have some mommy issues. That's kind of the one thing that our main 4 characters have in common, but we'll get to that later. So, Cassie steals this cab, and now the police are looking for Cassie because, like, you know, she kidnapped 3 children. And then she goes to the woods. They're in New York. Not Central Park, just like some woods somewhere, I guess. And then she says, okay, 3 children, I'm going to leave you in the woods now. I need to go back to my apartment to do something. And then the 3 girls go, well, we don't want to be left in the woods. And then Cassie goes, too bad. So Cassie leaves to go back to her place to find her mom's journal. And she starts reading about these Spider-Men, Las Arañas, and like the research her mom was doing. And then the 3 teenagers goes, this whole being in the woods thing blows. Let's go to this diner. So they go to this diner, and then they start dancing on the table. Britney Spears' Toxic is playing, and while they're at this diner, Dakota Johnson comes back and goes, "What? These 3 children that I abandoned in the woods left. What the heck? I met these kids a whole 40 minutes ago. How dare they not follow this weird plan I set out for them?" So then, Cassie, I think with her timey-wimey powers, knows that they're at this diner, so she goes to this diner and then yells at them and says, "How can you be so disrespectful and rude to me? You shouldn't do that." And then Ezekiel shows up, but as evil man spider, and he beats them all up, and then Cassie's gonna stab evil man spider with a knife, but then evil man spider stabs her instead, and then we rewind like 5 minutes, and now Cassie's back at the place she abandoned the teenagers at, and she goes, "Oh wait, I have to do something different now because this is Groundhog Day." So Cassie drives back, and then we get a little bit more of the 3 girls hanging out, dancing on tables to Britney Spears' Toxic, or maybe it's not Britney Spears' Toxic, maybe that's just for that first loop. Anyways, Ezekiel, evil man spider, shows up and gets ready to beat them all up, and then Cassie just hits him with her car, like, through the diner entrance, and that wipes out evil man spider for the rest of the scene. So then Cassie gathers her 3 wayward children, and they get in the car, and then they all go to a hotel. Oh man, they all go to a hotel, and they hang out, and then in the middle of the night, Cassie gets up to leave, and she's driving away. But then she realized this is all a bad idea, and then she wakes up because she was just having a dream that whole last scene with her leaving happened. And then she wakes up and teaches them all about CPR, and they have a little bonding moment, Cassie and the 3 girls, and then Cassie goes, "Hey Ben, you haven't been in this movie enough. I'm Cassie, am going to leave and go to Peru to figure out what my mom was up to. Can you hang on to these 3 girls for a little bit?" And Ben goes, "Yeah, sure, I'm Adam Scott. I'm likable and in movies." So then Cassie goes to Peru, and then when she's in Peru, she goes to this river, and when she goes to this river, the one guy who said that he was gonna be in the movie later, yeah, he comes back, and he's like, "Oh, you're finally here." And then he carries her to the same cave she was born in, and then, like, Doctor Strange punches her, where, like, you get punched, but instead of your body moving, your, like, soul gets kicked out the back. That happens, and her soul falls into the pool, and then we rewind back to before 1973. Well, we rewind back to 1973 when the mom was looking at spiders, and then we see Cassie sees the mom looking at spiders, and Cassie sees bad guy Ezekiel kill his mom, and then we rewind back even further. Cassie sees her mom in a doctor's office, and the doctor goes, "Hey, your daughter's gonna have insert medical mumbo jumbo disease here, which means she won't be able to do things." And the mom goes, "Well, that sucks. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go to the Amazon to go pursue science." And Cassie goes, "Oh shit, my mom was cool. I spent a lot of the movie hating her, kind of off and on, for like maybe 2 scenes." And maybe that was also something that me and the 3 girls had in common. We talk about that a little bit when when I abandon them in the woods. We have a brief conversation then that really doesn't seem important to the grand scheme of the plot, but I guess, like, for the characters to have an arc about, like, motherhood, it's, I guess, important. At least now for this beat. So, she is in Peru, and she gets out of the pool, and then the guy who says that he was going to be in the movie later and then took her to this pool, is like, oh, by the way, you have future sight, number one, but you already kind of knew that, and you also have this ability to be in more places, to be in one place more than once. But that won't come up till the third act, so don't worry about it. So then Cassie flies back to New York. Adam Scott, Ben, is hanging out with the three girls and his sister, who's pregnant from that one baby shower scene that really didn't seem that important. Anyways, that baby is coming out. The woman's name is Mary, the one who's having the baby, who also had the baby shower party. Anyways, Mary. This movie is so unfocused. There's a whole baby shower scene that, like, I guess serves to the timey-wimey Cassie finding out her powers thing. I don't know. Not a great movie. Anywho, so Mary's water breaks and Ben goes, okay, 3 girls, Mary's unborn child, and I will get in the car and we will drive to the hospital because the ambulance is going to take too long. So they do that, and then you remember how Ezekiel had that goon who had access to all the NSA stuff? Well, that goon sees one of the girls in the drive to the hospital. So the goon tells Ezekiel, hey, go get these kids. We don't know anything about the goon, by the way. She's just kind of there, sitting in a chair. Ezekiel isn't very nice to her. I don't know why anyone would work for Ezekiel. Seems like kind of a prick. But he has, like, Spider Terrarium New York City apartment money. But I also don't know what his job is. He just kind of has money. Did he sell the spider research? Probably not. Yeah, he just holds on to this spider and then I guess is independently wealthy besides that. Don't worry about it. That's a lollipop stuck to the ground. That's gross. That's off screen. That doesn't matter. So as Ben and 3 girls and Mary and unborn baby are in... Does that make Spider-Man Jesus? We'll get back to that. I'm gonna write that down. Okay, so Cassie gets back and goes to the house and goes, oh damn, no one's here. And then that ambulance that they said wouldn't get there shows up, and Cassie goes, well, I've stolen a car once in this movie, I'm gonna do it again. So Cassie steals an ambulance and then goes to save Ben, the 3 girls, Mary, and the baby. And then she gets there just in time. Evil man spider is there with a grenade for some reason, and he's gonna blow up the car. But then Cassie hits him with the ambulance. This is twice now that he has gotten hit by a car. This evil man spider character, despite the fact that both their powers come from the same spider, does not have any sort of future sight ability. And also Cassie doesn't have the ability to crawl on walls or do any other Spider-Man things. Yeah. And then Cassie hits man spider with a car, and then man spider's down for a little bit. And then Cassie goes, hey Ben, you and your sister, the pregnant woman, should go to the hospital and I will take these 3 girls and go elsewhere. And then they go, oh, look at that, we got away from the villain, the movie's over. But then evil man spider is chasing them, and then he lands on top of the ambulance, and then one of the girls puts an AED up onto the roof to shock him. And then Cassie hits the ambulance into another car to, like, shake him off. And then the ambulance breaks down under a bridge. And then Cassie's like, well, what should I do? Oh, wait, I have future sight. And then she's like, oh, hello there, 911. I need a helicopter to save me. over in this exploding building that also inexplicably has a Pepsi logo on top of it. There's a lot of Pepsi advertising in this, and Mountain Dew. Ben, drinks Mountain Dew at one point. Not like the green kind. I don't know what kind it was. It was like red, black, and blue. Kind of Spider-Man colory, but I don't know. So, Cassie takes a medical bag out of this ambulance and the three girls, and they go into this building that... You remember that scene where the guy died, when Cassie was like, no, don't drive away, and the guy's like, I'm gonna drive away, I don't believe in your future sight powers, and then he dies? Well, they were there because that building caught on fire. It was also had a lot of explosives in it. And then Cassie and the three girls also go to this building that blew up many scenes ago. It's back and repacked with explosives, I guess. And Cassie goes, we need to blow up this building and trap Man-Spider in it. And the girls go, okay, and they take out a bunch of road flares and they throw it in the recently restocked explosives. It's a lot of fireworks. I don't know why. Are fireworks illegal in New York? Me from the future. Is that true? Okay, thank you. So, then Evil Man-Spider shows up, and then the building starts to blow up, and Evil Man-Spider starts getting hit by all the fireworks because he doesn't have future sight abilities, nor like the ability to dodge. His powers mostly seem to be strength, maybe super strength, and jumping and sticking to walls, but like no reflexes, no spider sense, none of that. Because this isn't a Spider-Man movie, and he's not Spider-Man, he's Evil Man-Spider. God, why didn't they just make a lizard movie? Oh well. I'm gonna pitch that at the end. Okay, and then, so the whole building's blowing up, and then they get to the roof, and the helicopter's there, and the helicopter's like, hey guys, that giant Pepsi Cola sign is too big, we can't land there, but we need to go to a wide shot so you can see this whole Pepsi Cola sign. And the Dakota Johnson goes, oh no. And then the blowing building blows up, and then it takes out the helicopter, and then Evil Man-Spider climbs to the top of the building. It's like, I'm gonna kill you, Cassie. And then Cassie goes, no. And then her three girls all attempt to stop Evil Man-Spider. And then Evil Man-Spider, like, puts them all in a bad situation. And then he turns to Cassie and goes, Cassie, you can't save all of them. Choose. Which is just directly biting the first Raimi Spider-Man. I don't know if this movie wants to be a Spider-Man movie or not. It wants to be inspired by a Spider-Man movie, but it also doesn't want you to be aware of Spider-Man the character, because then you'd be asking too many questions. Anywho, and then Cassie goes, hey, do you remember when that guy from the cave with the pool in it said that I could be in one place more than once? And he goes, what? I wasn't in that scene. And Cassie goes, okay, and then she, like, surrounds herself in energy webbing, and then the energy webbing like goes to this girl, and Cassie saves girl number 1, and then Cassie has an energy web that goes over here and saves girl number 2, and then Cassie has an energy web that goes over here, and then Cassie saves girl number 3, and then they're all saved. And then Evil Man-Spider's gonna beat her up and kill her. And then the building falls down, and Cassie lives but falls into the water, and Evil Man-Spider is trapped underneath the building. His head is fine, so he's not like dead, because this is like a PG-13 movie. But his like chest is all trapped, and there's like a letter like around his head so we can see his face. And then Cassie's in the water, and I think a loose firework hits her. And then one of the girls swims into the water and pulls her up. And then the other two girls do CPR on her, because do you remember that CPR scene? Yeah, we're paying that off. This is long. I really hope the camera's not gonna record, or like, is gonna record the whole thing. I'm gonna be upset if half of this is cut off. They do CPR on her, and then we flash forward into a hospital. And Cassie is blind? She has like a little thing on that's like an eye blind, I guess, is covering her eyes. I don't really know why she went blind. Maybe it was that loose firework that hit her while she was underwater? Maybe that's really bad for your eyes, I don't know. The three girls are there with Cassie, and one of the girls is like, hey, do you remember that? You remember Ben and his sister and their baby? Well, the baby's fine. And then Cassie goes, cool. And then a nurse walks in and goes, are you guys all immediate family? Only immediate family can be in this room. And then Cassie goes, yes, they're all immediate family. This whole movie was about me finding family and accepting my role as a mom? Maybe? I don't know. And then the nurse just leaves. Like, she has nothing else to do besides go in there and say, are you guys family? I don't know. Maybe they were getting a noise complaint. And then they're all hanging out. And then we flash forward again, and Cassie is in like a motorized wheelchair, and she has some pretty cool sunglasses on. And then the three girls come back with Chinese food, and one of them goes, can you see our futures, Cassie? And Cassie goes, yes, I see you in the future being cool and not getting real sequels because this movie's not gonna do well. But, oh man, look how cool your costumes are, and look how cool your iron spider arms are. Girl number two, wow, you guys are gonna stand up for what you believe in and protect the innocent. That's pretty cool. And then we get a shot of like the four of them, Cassie and the three girls, hanging out on top of a building, being cool spider people. Spider space people, or spider space women, not a hyphen, because then it would be Marvel's property. And then the movie ends. There's no end credit sequence. So, I love cough drops so much. These things are delicious. So, what was good about the movie? Cassie had a really cool jacket. It was red. It was kind of like a sports coat type thing. Had a lot of pockets on it. It was a good color. Was there anything else I really liked in this? Not really. The movie feels like it was put together like 20 minutes before I got to the theater. A lot of Ezekiel's lines are clearly dubbed over, like either he is talking, but his mouth is not matching up to the words he is saying. I'm doing a bad example because my hand wants to do the same thing my lips are doing. Or like Ezekiel will walk behind a wall so you don't have to see his mouth, but he'll keep talking. And there's just a lot of that. A lot of Cassie's stuff is like that. So it seems like this movie was probably cut and recut and re-edited and rewritten probably like 3 or 4 times to get this phenomenal end product that you and I get to enjoy. Well, just me. You shouldn't see this in theaters. The effects weren't great. Evil man spider looked not the best, but not horrible. Like, it was cleanly shot. I mean, it's not like a terrible movie. It's just kind of bad, and you can tell maybe it was like a really bad movie when they first shot it, but it's been reconstructed so many times, it's just kind of this mess of subpar filmmaking. A lot of the time, the camera would fall off the tripod and we just get kind of this like handheld shot when we don't need it, when there's no significance to it, which is one of my biggest pet peeves, and that took me out. I think when the Cassie and the 3 girls are hanging out at the abandonment, is that a word? At the place where Cassie's going to abandon them in the woods. We go handheld for like 4-ish minutes so that all the girls can tell us about how they have bad relationships with their parents, so it's not weird that Cassie's just going to adopt these 3 teenagers. Yeah, it just kind of stunk. The writing wasn't very good. Dakota Johnson, I think I like her. She was in Bad Times at the El Royale, which is a movie I liked, but I don't really remember what she did in it. Maybe she kills Liam Hemsworth in that movie? Spoilers. But also, maybe she doesn't, so maybe not spoilers. I never saw any of the Turning... What's that movie called? The Grey movie. Oh, man. The Sex movie. With Grey in the title. Based on those books, she was in those. I don't know if she was good in that. But she wasn't particularly horrible in this movie. Adam Scott was fine. I get a sense that the writing was just not very good. The villain was bad. It just seemed like he was in a different movie, but also that probably wasn't helped by the fact that like 3/4 of his lines were dubbed over in post, probably. So yeah, Madam Web is just kind of a bad movie, and I don't recommend watching it. It's not even funny that it's bad. It just kind of blows. It takes very long to get going. Like, it's a 2-hour movie that does not need to be that long. Alright, what else did I write? Spider-Man Jesus. We never hear the words Peter Parker. At the baby shower, there's a whole thing about guessing what the baby's name is gonna be, and no one guesses Peter, but no one doesn't guess Peter. They never get to that because of timey-wiminess, and then they have to go put out the fire at that constantly restocking firework factory that New York has. Does this movie want Spider-Man to be Jesus? He's born to a Mary and we don't know who the father is? I don't know. That was a weird thing I just thought of. And then, Lizard movie. Sony, why did you make this movie? Just make an Invisible Man ripoff where you have the lizard, Frank Connors? Question mark? I'm gonna say I got that right. I believe in myself. I think that's right. Where, you know, he's a mass and he's trying to fit into society to do this science trick, but you know, he's this freaky lizard guy. But you know, he's really trying to reverse his lizardiness because he did it all to grow an arm back because was an insert conflict / issue here and he lost his arm and we want to root for him, but you know, he's a lizard now and he's kind of a dickhead. So he's kidnapping people and doing evil lizard things. I think I could write that movie, and as long as Sony didn't try to rewrite that movie and recut it and re-edit it 4 times, I think it's turning out better than Madam Web. It just kind of stunk. I paid $11.25 for the ticket. For the ticket, and based on some research that I did earlier from Washington and Lee, which cites a Newsweek article? I read an article about Washington and Lee that says that 80% of the ticket price went to Sony, so that's $8.80-ish. I'm gonna call it a clean $9. Most of the money goes to Sony, but you know, Sony also is gonna have to, I guess, I don't know, I gave like $9 to Sony, which isn't great, but hopefully by doing this review, you don't go do that. I'm sure you were all very much itching to go see Madam Web in theaters. Don't do that. It's not good. I don't know why I saw this movie. I could have seen a movie that was better, probably, because this was not great. Anyways, yeah, not a great movie. Bye.